Hi there, I am Danica Quinn. The most important things in life are good health, well-being, and just living a happy, long life. Today we have Bob Barefoot here to talk about coral calcium and vitamin D and how it can help you improve the quality of your life. Now here's your host, Kim Estes.
I'm Kim Estes, and I'm here with world-renowned nutritionist and best-selling author Bob Barefoot. His newest book, The Disease Conspiracy, the FDA Suppression of Cures, is what we're going to be talking about over the next half hour. It's been about 5 years since Bob Barefoot made the most watched infomercial in American television history, the infomercial that introduced coral calcium to America. Bob Barefoot is called Mr. Coral Calcium. Bob, thank you for being my guest today.
I'm real happy to be here today.
Now, you've been sued by the FTC and attacked by the Food and Drug Administration.
Yes, that's true.
So pretty much because you've been out there telling the world and the truth about how calcium and other vitamins and minerals can be curing diseases. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, your newest book, called The Disease Conspiracy, the FDA Suppression of Cures, because now this is a book that's protected by the First Amendment, you're back here saying the truth about nutrition deficiencies and the fact that they can cure disease.
That's correct.
Then if nutritional deficiencies cause disease, then taking vitamins and minerals can cure diseases?
That's what the scientific community says about it.
Yeah, but you're not a medical doctor.
No, I'm a research scientist.
Okay. Pretty much a medical researcher?
Yes, I work with a lot of doctors.
Okay, let's talk about this book. Because in here you talk about suppressed medical studies documenting how vitamins and minerals can prevent cancer, heart attacks, diabetes, MS, lupus, etc., etc. Specifically, how is it that nutrients can cure diseases?
Well, your body is made up of nutrients, and some nutrients are more important than others. Like, for example, calcium. There's more calcium in your body than any other mineral, and you need to replace it constantly. And that's the basis of it. You're made up of nutrients, and with nutrients, you maintain your health and maintain a disease-free environment.
Now, you did the show about coral calcium and were violently attacked by the government. And were you told that you cannot say things even if they were true about calcium?
That's correct.
But now that you're protected by the First Amendment, what is it about calcium that you want people to know? And is it a cure for cancer and various diseases?
Yes, all the research scientists out there are saying that calcium inhibits, prevents, and many of them even say the word cure, although they don't say it out loud and in public. But that's the message that we're getting from the research scientists in America today.
Are there various kinds of coral calcium, different degrees or grades?
Oh, yes, but I prefer marine-grade coral calcium. It's freshly harvested out of the ocean, and it has the perfect biological ratio of magnesium to calcium, 2 to 1. It has 12% magnesium. You know, there's unscrupulous people in the world. They go to Okinawa and they dig the coral out of the ground, and that coral has less than 1% magnesium. So if you want the perfect 2 to 1 magnesium to calcium, you will get the marine-grade coral calcium.
This is pretty important stuff in this book, and it's important to me because you mentioned that African Americans have a high rate of disease.
That's correct.
Well, can you elaborate on that? Can you explain a little bit about kidney disease, heart disease?
Well, the average African American dies 7 years before the average white American does. They also have 3 times the cancer, 2 times the heart disease, 5 times the kidney disease, and many diseases the whites don't even have. You know, a good friend of mine, a man of the cloth, he asked me the question. He said, Bob, what would happen if white Americans died 7 years before black Americans, if white Americans had 3 times the cancer, twice the heart disease, 5 times the kidney disease, what would the authorities and the FDA and the AMA do about it? And I said, well, that's easy. They would spend hundreds of billions of dollars to find out why and to rectify the situation. And he said, yes, and that's my problem. He says, my skin is black and they won't spend a penny on me. And I call that racial discrimination of the worst kind. It's led to the death of millions of black Americans.
And so why do you think that there is more disease in the black community?
Well, there's 2 reasons. The first is that most of the blacks are severely calcium deficient. But the main reason is because the blacks avoid the sun like the plague. You know, if you go to Africa, where they're basically naked in the sun all day long, there's virtually no cancer. But you come back to America with the same skin and the same genes, and cancer is ravishing the black community.
And why?
Well, the reason is basically because the blacks in America avoid the sun like the plague. And when the sun strikes the skin, the sun produces hormones and enzymes, for instance, calcitonin, melatonin, serotonin, inositol triphosphate, vitamin D. You produce hundreds of hormones and chemicals, all of which going in to making your body healthy and preventing disease.
I want to tell you about the giveaway of all giveaways. This book deal is so wonderful that I didn't even believe it myself. It's a $180 package, all yours for the price of shipping and handling. Yes, that's right. Let me tell you what you'll get. The Disease Conspiracy, the FDA Suppression of Cures. Let's Cure Humanity, the Bob Barefoot story. Barefoot on Vitamin D, the Cancer Inhibitor. Barefoot on Coral Calcium. If It Glitters, the Story of Gold. The Calcium Factor, the Scientific Secret of Health and Youth. And last, Death by Diet. Now, I'll be back later to mention them to you again after the interview. Now, here's your host, Kim Estes.
Thank you, Danica. Okay. So let's talk about some of the diseases. I also want to talk more about calcium a little later on, but in your book, you list diseases that are allegedly can be attributed to calcium or and the lack of sunshine. So and you have a list of researchers that are phenomenal. And so I don't want to talk a little bit about that, and specifically arthritis.
Well, hundreds and hundreds of medical researchers all say arthritis is caused by calcium deficiency. It's just a lack of calcium. It's as simple as that.
So you're saying that arthritis is curable?
Oh, yes.
With no drugs?
No drugs, but not only calcium, they need sunshine so that they can produce the vitamin D and other hormones they need.
And no surgery?
No surgery.
What about bone disease?
It's curable.
Okay, let's get specific.
Okay.
Let's talk about breast cancer.
Well, you know, the Canadian Breast Cancer Society have a report that states that 65% of all women's breast cancer can be eliminated with vitamin D. And we're not talking $50,000 worth, we're talking 50 cents worth of vitamin D. You know, they've known for a long time that vitamin D cures a lot of diseases. And back in the 1920s, when vitamins first became popular, the average person would take about 20 milligrams of vitamin D, 10 milligrams of vitamin E, 60 milligrams of vitamin C. And by the way, every orange has 60 milligrams, so it's not horrific amounts. And what happened was the hospitals absolutely emptied out. Now, that was a medical emergency because suddenly no one was in the hospitals. So the AMA and the FDA got together, and they gave 7 medical students enough vitamin D to kill a horse. Well, of course, they got sick, and that was their excuse to immediately remove vitamin D from the shelves. But because the public loved it so much, there was such a public uproar that the President of the United States had to commission University of Chicago medical faculty to determine, is vitamin D toxic?
That was the Dr. Frock study.
Dr. Frock, with hundreds of medical researchers and hundreds of scientists, all got together. It was a 10-year study. And during the study, what happened was the FDA AMA also got together and said, how do we stop people from taking so much vitamins? And the key vitamins were A, D, and E, because those were the ones that apparently cured things. And so they got this idea, let's use numbers psychology on the people. And what that was they simply took the 20 milligrams that the average person took of vitamin D every day, and they converted it to 1 million international units. And of course, as they said, 1 million units will kill you. Well, of course, everybody thought the same thing. So they stopped taking the vitamins in huge amounts. And what they did was they specified 400. Well, that was only 1/100th of a milligram. Not enough to do any good. But 400's a big number, and the doctors were satisfied.